先生们，上午好。
Ladies and gentlemen, good
欢迎
morning.
大家出席
Welcome
中共中央宣传部新闻发布会。
the press conference
今
at
天
the
我们举行
CPC
中国这10
Publicity
年
Department.
系列主题
Today's
新闻发布会的
event
第
is
15场。
the fifth
我
in
们请到
the series of
最高人
events
民法院
China
副
in
院
the
长
past decade.
2级大法官
We have with
陶
us
凯元女士、
Madam Tao Kaiyuan,
杨林平女士、
Madam Yang Linping,
贺小荣先生、
Mr. He Xiaorong,
沈亮先生，
and Mr.
请
Shen
他们
Liang,
介绍
all justices
新时
and
代
vice presidents of the
人民
Supreme
法院
People's Court
工作
to
举措和成效，
brief you
并
the
回答各位关心的问
working
题。
measures and effect of
现在我们
People's
先
Court
请
in the new era.
陶凯元
Now
女士
we'll
介绍
have
情况。
Madam Tao Kaiyuan to deliver
记
opening
者朋友
remarks.
们，大家
Friends
好。
from the media, good
首
morning.
先，感谢大
Let
家
me begin
长
by
期以来对人民
thanking
法院
you
工作的
for
关
the
心和支持。
long-standing
我和几位
interest in
同
and
事一
support
起
for
参
our
加
work
今天的
in the
发布会，
People's Court.
介绍人民
It's
法
a great
院
pleasure
10
for
年
my
的工作
colleagues
情
and
况。
I to be here and brief you on
党的
the
18大
work
以
of the
来，
People's Court over the past
在以
decade.
习近平
Since
同
the
志为
18th
核心的
CPC
党
National
中央
Congress,
坚强
under
领
the
导
strong
下，
leadership of
人
the
民法
CPC
院
Central Committee
坚
with
持以
Comrade
习
Xi
近
Jinping
平
at its
新时
core,
代
the
中国特
People's
色
Court
社会主义思想
has
为指导，
followed the guidance of the Xi
深入
Jinping
贯彻
thought on
习近平
socialism
法
with
治
Chinese
思想，
characteristics for a new
深
era,
刻领悟
implemented
两
the
个
Xi
确
Jinping
立的
thought on the
决
rule
定
of
性
law,
意义，增强
profoundly
4个意识，
appreciated
坚
the
定4个
decisive
自信，
significance of two
做到2个维护，
establishments,
紧紧
enhanced
围绕
the
努力让人民群
awarenesses
众
on four
在每
fronts,
一个司法案
boosted
件中感
confidences
受到
in
公
four
平正义
confidence in
目
four
标，
areas
坚
and
持司法为
in
民，
short to
公正司
oppose.
法，
Our goal
为
is to
全面建
let
设社会主义
the
现代
people
化国家
to have a
提供
sense of
有力
fairness and
司法
justice
服
in
务
every
和保障。
case and to serve the
梳理
people
案件溯
and
源，
uphold
从
justice
2013
and provide
年
strong judicial services and
1421.7
safeguards for
万件
fully building
上
a
升至
modern
2021
socialist
年
country. The cases the People's Court
3351.6 万
handled
件，
increased from 14.2 million in 2013 to
达到
33.5 million in 2021, and the money value
一是坚持党
involved
对
stood
司
at
法工作的绝
46.7
对领
trillion.
导，
First,
始终
upholding the
把
party's
2个维
absolute
护
leadership
作为
over
最
the
高政治
judicial
原
work.
则，
We have always
坚
taken
定
the
不移
to
走中国特色
oppose
社会
as
主义
the
法治道路，
supreme political principle
始终
and
做到
steadfastly
维护
pursued
核
the
心，
path of rule of law
绝
with
对忠
distinctive
诚，
Chinese
听党指
features.
挥，勇于担
We have
当，
all along upheld the
真
leadership
学
core,
真信
stayed
笃行
absolute
习近
loyal,
平法治思
followed
想，
the leadership of
在
the
审
party,
判
and
执行
stepped
工
up
作中
to our
不折不扣
responsibilities.
贯
We
彻
have
党中央
studied and
决策部
implemented
署。
the Xi Jinping thought on the rule of law
二
and
是依法维护国家
applied
安
or
全
implemented
和社会稳
the
定，
decisions of the CPC
贯
Central
彻
Committee
总体国家安
in
全
our
观，
adjudication and
依法惩治刑事
execution
犯
work.
罪，
Second,
坚
we
决
have
维护
upheld
国家政治
national
安全
security and social
和社会
stability.
大局
We
稳定，
followed the overall approach
推
to
动
national
扫黑
security,
除恶
cracked
斗
down
争
hard
常
on
态化开
crimes
展。
to uphold national
2018年
political
至
security and
2021
social
年
stability.
审
We have
结
carried out anti-crime
涉黑
campaigns
涉
on a
恶犯罪
regular
案件
basis. Between
3.6 万
2018
件
and 2021, we
24.4
closed 36,000 cases involving 244,000 people.
严重暴力案
Crimes
件
such as murder,
持续
arson,
处于低
kidnapping
位
have been cracked hard upon, and the
依法
number
惩
of
治
serious
涉疫犯
violent
罪
crimes
切
have
实保
kept
障
has
疫
kept
情
running
防
low.
控秩序，
We have also
坚持
dealt
实
with
事求是
COVID-related
原则，
crimes to
坚决
ensure
纠正
the normal
不可
order
救
of
阻案
COVID control.
叶树斌
We
案
have also
等一
pursued
批
a
重大刑
fact-based
事冤错案
principle
件，
and redressed
让人权
miscarriages
司
of
法保障
justice to
更加
make
有力。
and made sure that
三是
the judicial
依法
protection of
服务
human
保障
rights
经济
is
高质量
stronger.
发展，
Third, we have
完整
served
准确
high-quality
全
economic
面贯彻
development with
新发展
judicial
理念，
services. We have been
围绕活着
fully
大者
and faithfully
履职尽
implementing
责，
the new development
加
philosophy
强产
and
权司法保护，
have all along borne in
依法
mind
纠
what's
正
important
张
for
文
our
中案，
country. We have stepped up protection of
对
property
国企民
rights
企
and
内
treat
资外资
all
大中
companies
小微
as
企业
equals,
一律
regardless
平
of
等
their
保护，
ownership, Chinese or
营
foreign,
造
and
市
regardless
场
of their
化、
size.
法治化、
We
国
have
际
been
化
working
营
hard
商
to
环
foster
境，
a market-oriented and
出
world-class
台助力
business
中小微
environment
企业
governed
发展
by a sound
20
legal
套实
framework.
招应招，
We rolled out
实质性
20
化解纠
concrete
纷，
measures
帮助
to
市场主
support
体疏
small
忽
and
结案，
medium-sized and micro
服务
businesses
6稳6
and release
加强知识
and
产权
ease their
司法保
burden
护
to contribute to the stable performance of the economy and
全
protect
国法
people's
院
livelihood.
受理各类
We
知
have
识
stepped
产
up
权一审案
protection
件
of
从
IPR.
2018年
The
的
number of
10.1
cases
万件
handled of
增长到
IP-related cases
2021
handled by the
年的
court increased
57.7
from
万件
101,000 to
年均
2,000
增
from
长
in
超过
2013 to
20%。
577,000
出台
in 2021,
证券
with
纠
annual
纷
growth
代
rate
表
of
人
20%.
诉讼司
We wrote
司
out
法
the
解释
judicial
促
interpretation
进
on
金融健康
representative
稳定
litigation
发
in
展
securities disputes
用
to
最
promote
严
the
密法
sound
治保护
development
生
of the
态环
financial
境
sector. We have
服务美
also
丽
wrote
生
out
活建设
stringent measures or
平等保护中
taken
外当事人
stringent
合法
measures
权
to
益
protect the
围
equal
绕共
environment.
建“一带一路”和自
We have
贸试验
also
区
given equal
自由
treatment
贸
to
易岛建
protecting
设，完
the
善
lawful
司法
rights and
政
interests
策，
of Chinese
服
and
务高
foreign
水平对外
parties
开放。
to contribute to the
四
Belt
是
and Road
依法保障
Initiative
人
and the
民
building of
群
free
众
trade
合法权
zones
益，
and free trade ports.
守好民生
Fourth
安全底线，
We have
对人民
protected
群众
people's
反映
lawful
强烈
rights and
的
interests
电
in
信
accordance
网
with the
络诈
law
骗、侵犯公
regarding
民个
the
人信息、
telecommunications
高空
fraud,
抛物等犯
infringement
罪，
of personal
及
information,
时发布
high-rise
司法
littering,
解释
and other
和典型案例，
concern of the general
加强
public. We
民
have
生
wrote
司
out
法保障，
judicial
贯彻实施民法典，
interpretation and
深化家
publicized
事审判改革，
typical cases
近
in a
10
timely
年
manner.
依法审结，设
In
教
the
育、
past
就
decade,
业、
we've
医
all
疗、
given
养老、
strong
住
importance
房、
to
婚
people's
姻家庭
livelihood
等
areas,
民
including
生案件
education, employment,
3600
medical
万
services,
件。
old age care, housing, and
在实现
marriages.
基本解决执行
Altogether,
的阶段
36
性
million
目标
such
后，
cases have been
持续
handled.
巩固成果。
We have been consolidating the
2021
gains
全
over
国
the
法院
years.
直
Last
接
year,
执行案件864.2万件，
the People's Court
执行
nationwide
到位
closed
金额
8.6 million
1.94
cases
万亿元，
or executed
大力推进一
8.6
站式
million
多元纠纷
cases
解
and
决和
the
诉讼服务
and
体系建设。
1.94 trillion yuan of
2021年，全国法院
compensation
在
have
线
been
调解
delivered.
纠纷1084万件。
In 2021,
2022年1至6月，
10.84 million
调解纠纷
cases
577.3万件。 我国已建成
mediation
严重
cases have
资源
been
最多
handled. In the
在
first
线
6
调
months
解
of
最
year
全服务
of this
对
year,
象最广的
5.7 million
中国特
cases
色
have been
一站式
handled.
多元纠纷解决
We have
和
put
诉
in
讼
place
服务体
a
系。
one-stop
五是
litigation
加快
service
建设
system
公
and
正高效
dispute
权威的
resolution
社会主义
system
司法
with
制度
distinctive Chinese features.
全面落
Fifth,
实
we
司
have
法
been
责
working
任制
to put in
实
place
行法
a
官
just,
员额制，完善
efficient
司法
and
人员
authoritative
分类管理，
socialist
健
judicial
全
system.
司法制约
The
监督体系，
category-based management of
实现
judicial
让审理
personnel
者裁判
have been put in
由
place,
裁判者负
and
责，
the
深
cases are
化以审判
handled
为中心的诉讼制度
the
改革，
those who handle the case will
完成
adjudicate
民事
the
诉讼
case,
程
and
序，
those who
繁简
adjudicate
分流
are
改
held
革制定，
responsible. We
完
have
善
improved
司法
civil
院
litigation
审计职能
procedures
定位，
and
健
better
全人民法
refined
院
the
组织体系，审判
positioning
绩
and
效
functions of
全
the
面
four
提
levels
升。
of court. The
深化
quality and
智慧法
efficiency
院建
of
设，
case handling
出台
is on the
人民
rise.
法院
We've also
在
been
线诉
employing
讼
smart
在线调解
technologies
在线
to
运行三大
facilitate
规则
our work.
和加
The
强
online
区块链
litigation,
司法
online
应用
mediation,
硬件，
and online
科技富
operation
龙司
have
法
been
展现广阔前景。
promoted with rules, and we have
六是
also
着力
enhanced
锻
the
造
judicial
忠诚、干
opinions
净、
on
担当的
blockchain.
法院铁军。
Sixth, we have been building
加快
loyal,
推进法
clean,
院
and
对
responsible
革命化、
court
正规
personnel.
化、专业化、职业化建设，
The
全
team
面从严
at the
管党治警，
courts
扎实
is
开
more
展
professional
队伍
and
教
better
育整顿，
organized. We've
全国
been
法院
conducting
政治生态
education
持续优
campaigns
化，
to
纪
improve
律
the
作风
political
明显好
ecology
转，
at the
队
courts,
伍素
and
质
as a
能
result,
力不
the
断增
discipline
强。
of the personnel and competence has been steadily rising. We have a number of model
等一大批新时代
judges
司法卫冕
who
公
are
正司法
dedicated
的
to
先进典型。
serving the people with justice.
新征程上，
On our new journey, the People's Court will continue to follow the guidance of the Xi Jinping thought on the rule of law and march forward on the path of rule of law with distinctive Chinese features. We'll continue to perform our functions as the People's Court and deliver justice to our people and greet the opening of the 20th CPC National Congress with concrete efforts. So those are my opening remarks. Thank you. Now the floor is open for questions, and please identify your media affiliation before asking the question. Thank you. With Economic Daily, my question is about foreign investment. Over the past decade, we've seen tremendous changes in the management system of foreign investment, and that has provided institutional support for promoting high-level opening up. What has been done by the People's Court to facilitate that endeavor, and going forward, what are the goals and direction of your work?
Thank you for your question. As I work on adjudication of foreign-related commercial and maritime cases, I'm very happy to answer your question, and I think it's a very targeted one. Over the past 10 years, the People's Courts have resolutely implemented the decisions by the Party Central Committee, facilitated opening up at a high level. We have focused on implementing the foreign investment law, tried cases involving foreign ventures fairly and efficiently through our effective adjudications. We have protected the legitimate rights and interests of Chinese and foreign investors alike and continued to improve the law-based business environment. And here are some highlights, mainly in 4 areas. First, forming a framework for foreign investment in the new era. As you mentioned, there have been some historic changes in foreign investment-related systems. And that change would involve one from an approval and review system to a new system featuring pre-establishment national treatment and negative list management. The Supreme People's Court formulates and revises the supporting judicial interpretations for foreign investment and implemented that in parallel with the foreign investment law. To ensure the validity of contracts outside the negative list, which means that if the contract does not fall within the negative list, we would see it as valid. It can be said that adjudication involving foreign ventures can now be based on one law, one regulation, and 2 interpretations. One law refers to the foreign investment law. One regulation refers to the regulations on the implementation of the foreign investment law. And the 2 interpretations would include interpretations on how these cases would be adjudicated and where the foreign investment law applies. So that constitutes our system called one law, one regulation, and 2 interpretations. Second, building a professional adjudication paradigm for foreign and joint ventures. As early as in 2017, the Supreme People's Court issued a notice to clarify the purview of the first instance of foreign-related civil and commercial cases and the centralized handling of related issues. Cases involving the establishment, capital contribution, and confirmation of shareholder qualifications shall be handled by the Foreign-Related Adjudication Tribunal. Therefore, forming a professional paradigm for adjudication of foreign and joint ventures. Last June, the Supreme People's Court held a national meeting on adjudication of foreign-related commercial and maritime matters and adopted minutes of the meeting. Guidance was further provided on relevant cases to facilitate the application of the foreign investment law and other laws. We have also streamlined commissioning of foreign parties and notarization of evidence from outside the country to facilitate participation of foreign parties in these cases. Third, contributing Chinese wisdom to the improvement of international commercial rulebooks. During our COVID response, to handle cases more effectively, we have rolled out four sets of guidance on how to handle COVID-related civil cases. And one of them is on foreign-related commercial and maritime cases. It has drawn the attention from the United Nations, and the UNGA has formed a decision to include it into an ancestral library for laws and case laws. And I think that is a major achievement. Fourth, using a multi-pronged approach to ensuring investment liberalization and facilitation on the ground. First, the Supreme People's Court issued the guidelines on people's courts serving and ensuring further opening up. And in conjunction with the NDRC, we have issued opinions on providing judicial services and ensuring improvement of the socialist market economy system in the new era. Second, researching on how we can facilitate the development of free trade pilot zones, Hainan Free Trade Port, and the Greater Bay Area, and also the Beijing's two zones. We have held a press conference where I believe a lot of you were present and provided guidance and case studies on better protecting foreign ventures and to promote cross-border investment. Third, local courts have heard a number of typical cases involving foreign and joint ventures. One of them includes shareholder qualification of Rongxingda Company. If you're interested in these cases, then you can look for them on our official website. All of these cases were effective implementations of the pre-establishment treatment and the foreign investment law to protect foreign and joint ventures' rights and interests. And moving forward, the People's Courts will ground our efforts in the new development stage, follow the new development philosophy, and serve and integrate into the new development paradigm, focusing on building a new system of open economy at a higher level and build a just, transparent, and convenient adjudication system for cases involving foreign and joint ventures. And we will do our part to make more contributions. The floor is now open for more questions. Thank you, CCTV. The 18th Party Congress highlighted the importance of ecological conservation. Great strides were made in building a beautiful China. I would like to know what are some wisdom and contribution from China's judiciary branch in promoting that development.
I'll have Vice President Yang Linping, who has the portfolio of environment-related issues, to take your question. The ecological civilization is a very important national matter related to people's well-being. Since the 18th National Congress, the CPC Central Committee has been promoting the ecological civilization with unprecedented efforts, and as a result, historic, transformative, and systemic changes have taken place in this area, and we've made tremendous achievements in building a beautiful China. Last year, the Supreme People's Court and the UNEP held the World Judicial Conference on Environment Matters. In the congratulatory message, General Secretary Xi Jinping stated that China has been steadily deepening reform and innovation in protecting the environment with judicial means and build useful experience. The People's Court has been following the philosophy that green mountains and clear water are mountains of gold and silver, and we've been implementing the Xi Jinping thought on ecological civilization. First, we've handled some signature cases and promoted the rule of law in the protection of eco-environment. Since the 18th National People's Congress, the 1.9 million cases in environment and resources areas have been handled, including 285,000 criminal cases, 1.28 million civil cases, and 360,000 administrative cases. We have also handled some pro bono litigation cases. The cases involving the preventive protection of green PFAS, the handling of illegal catching of eel at the Yangtze River, and we have also handled the illegal sale of illicit exhaust detector and contributed to the reduction of pollution and carbon emission. We've all along made hard efforts to contribute to the building of eco-civilization from our line of work and handled the cases in accordance with the law in an effort to build a beautiful China. Second, we've improved a series of judicial implementation, judicial interpretation, and policies, and to weave a intense network of ecological protection. We have rolled out 21 judicial interpretation on the prevention and punishment of pollution-related crimes and introduced injunctives on infringement of rights related to the environment. We have also issued 13 judicial documents and 26 guiding cases, which are legally binding, and they cover 260 typical cases. These efforts are to meet people's need for a clear environment. The People's Court at different localities have also rolled out judicial measures on the enhancement and releasing and the discount for technology upgrading, and guide the public to protect the environment like they do their eyes. Third, we have deepened reform and innovation on environment-related judiciary and build an adjudication system on environment and resources with Chinese features. Nationwide, we have 2,426 adjudication institutions on environment and resources. In Nanjing, Lanzhou, Kunming, and Zhengzhou, the Environment and Resource Court have been established, and they have become more professional. The Supreme People's Court and 29 high courts have combined the criminal, civil, and administrative adjudication of cases in environment and resources. We have been putting in place a coordination mechanism on protecting the environment around the Yangtze River, the Yellow River, and the Grand Canal. Our ability to protect the eco-environment with judicial means has been notably rising. Fourth, we have enhanced international exchanges and cooperation on this front. We hosted the World Judicial Conference on the Environment, at which the countries and international organizations reached the Kunming Declaration. We have been working to address the climate change, environment protection, and biodiversity and pollution prevention. At the UNEP database, we set up a section of China's environment judicial adjudication. China's philosophy, systems, and practices have been receiving more and more international attention, and we've been contributing Chinese wisdom and Chinese proposals to building a beautiful and clear world.
前排东侧这位女士。
谢谢。天目新闻提问。数字经济
With Tianmu
快速发
News,
展
the
影响了我们的
digital
生产生活。
economy
但
has
是呢，也带来
brought
了全新的
tremendous
这个法律问题。
changes
比
to
如说
life
随
and
着
work.
近
It
年来的这个
also
双11又
has
一
given
把
rise
这些
to
电商节
some
的兴起，
judicial
那想请问
issues,
我们是怎么
especially
处理电子商务
given the
的这些
shopping
纠纷
festivals.
谢谢
How does the People's Court address these issues?
这个问题非常有意义啊！我想呢。
Thank you for your question. I think it is a very meaningful one. E-commerce is an area of high attention. Mr. He Xiaorong specializes in civil affairs, and I would like him to answer the question. Thank you for your question. We usually say that the internet is not a land beyond law. Since the 18th Party Congress, the CPC Central Committee with Commerce Xi Jinping at its core takes seriously the development of the digital economy and took it as a national strategy. In recent years, with the development of the IT industry, there have been more cases involving e-commerce. The People's Court always values encouragement and regulation, and we have handled all types of e-commerce cases in accordance with law. In March 2022, the Supreme People's Court issued rules on adjudication of online shopping disputes. After its rollout, there has been a lot of feedback from the society. This judicial interpretation provides for a lot of matters that the people really care about regarding online shopping, and has contributed to the healthy and sound development of the online economy. First, on terms and clauses. Some terms like confirmation of delivery means recognition of the quality of the product, and that business owners have unilateral or ultimate interpretation of the terms, are commonly seen bullying terms. But in the civil code, terms should not be borne by consumers. If terms add the burden to the consumers, then they would be deemed invalid. Second, online shopping fraud. It was clarified that contracts signed by e-commerce business owners with other people to fake transactions, views, or comments for publicity would be seen as invalid in accordance with law. Third, on ill-regulated promotions online, it was provided that If gifts or trade-in products cause harm to consumers, then e-commerce business operators should pay damages, and they should not contend for exemption of liability, citing that gifts are free or that products are trade-in ones. Fourth, on live streaming promotions, it was provided that platform operators have their own responsibilities, and when operators of these live streaming channels cannot provide ID information or cannot provide their own ID information or contact, then the platform itself will bear prepayment responsibilities. Responsibilities were identified on the review of the qualifications for running a live streaming channel selling food. And when necessary measures are not taken, when someone knows or should know about certain infringements on consumer rights, then there is collateral responsibilities. And also on takeouts. If online food delivery platform operators have not fulfilled their legal responsibilities to run real name registrations and review of licenses, then they would also have responsibilities. As we all know, these matters bear on every one of us, so we have made more strict provisions on that. Moving forward, we will also closely follow new circumstances and problems in e-commerce and issue in a timely manner judicial interpretations for online shopping and respond to concerns of the society to truly defend the people's lawful rights and interests. We want to make sure that people can buy and use things without concerns, and that e-commerce can develop in a sound manner. In light of the development needs of e-commerce, we have issued rules on the application of online litigation and mediation. We would respect people's choice of their litigation mode and disposition. Now the floor is open for more questions.
谢谢。封面新闻记者提问。今年最高法院工作报告提出，8类主要刑事犯罪案件是第1位，占全部。
A report by the Supreme People's Court noted that numbers of criminal cases are at a historic low, and their proportions are also very low. Can you tell us what are some of the work that you have done in this regard to promote security of the country? Now I would like to give the floor to Mr. Shen Liang. I am happy to take your question. Since the 18th Party Congress, the Supreme People's Court, under Xi Jinping's thoughts on rule of law, have worked to ensure that everyone can get a sense of justice in every case. And we have worked to protect the people and punish culprits, to maintain national security and social stability, promote justice, and improve people's well-being. Over the past 10 years, the People's Courts have implemented a criminal policy featuring both leniency and punishment. On serious terrorist cases that endanger national security and social stability, we have went very, very hard on them. On cases like buses, indiscriminate killing, and murder of doctors that would give the people a sense of insecurity,
We have also carried out serious campaigns to crack down on them. On victimization of minors, sexual assaults on girls, and human trafficking, and other cases that challenge our bottom lines. Heavy or death penalties were also issued when the criminals deserve them. We have punished financial crimes and crowdfunding fraud to maintain financial order. Corruption and bribery were also clamped down upon. Both anti-gangster special task force and regularized crackdowns were carried out. A host of criminals who were involved with gangster forces like Liu Han, Liu Wei, and Sun Xiaoguo were all brought to justice. Serious violent and terrorist crimes, including murder, robbery, abduction, arson, and detonation, all declined in their numbers, dropping from 75,000 cases and 95,700 criminals in 2013 to 49,000 cases and 56,800 criminals in 2021. At the same time, when the Li provides that lesser punishments apply on personal disputes, we would show leniency as the law allows. In 2021, the number of criminals sentenced to less than 3 years in prison account for 84.6% of all verdicts, which means that in all criminal cases handled by the Supreme People's Court, most of them are lighter ones, with a sentence of less than 3 years. Our social stability and security are trending for the better. Over the past 10 decades, the Supreme People's Court have always put people front and center. We have lawfully exercised our criminal adjudication mandates to improve people's sense of security gain and happiness. People's courts clamped down on telecom fraud, crimes against women and children, and crimes involving narcotics. We carried out special task force on fraud targeting the elderly, punished crimes that endanger food security, impede COVID control, pollute the environment, infringe on personal privacy, and involve high-rise littering and imposture in schooling. And we have also worked to better protect vulnerable groups, including women, children, the elderly, and people with disabilities. We have worked to protect the people from food to drugs, from head to toe, and from online to offline. Over the past decade, People's Courts stressed both punishment of crimes and protection of human rights. We have promoted a reform on the litigation system with adjudication at its center. Punishments are decided by law and based on the offenses and evidence. And we have adhered to the principle of presumption of innocence to prevent wrongful convictions. We have adopted a fact-based approach to vindication and rectified a number of cases that were historically wrongly convicted, including Hu Gele, Nie Shubin, Zhang Wenzhong, a rape and murder case by 2 men, and corn procurement case by Wang Lijun to bring them to justice. We have strictly distinguished between crime and non-crime, economic disputes and crimes, and took into consideration the impact of economic damages on measurement and measurement of sentencing to ensure that our verdicts are precise and just. Over the past decade, people's courts have valued the importance of social justice and fairness. In criminal adjudication, in particular, when we run into issues of high social attention with varying narratives, we have maintained our composure and stood by the law and balanced law, morality, and humanity. And we have worked to integrate our professional judgment based on law and the views on justice of the people. We have turned many cases of high public attention into lessons for the society to learn about the rule of law and for them to feel justice in every case. Now the floor is open for more questions. Thank you. People's Daily. The third plenum of the 18th Party Central Committee identified the target of improving human rights judiciary protection system. What are some effects from this target?
I'll take your question. Over the past decade, the People's Court have integrated criminal punishment with the protection of human rights. We've been advancing the socialist criminal judicial system with Chinese features, and the protection of human rights through judicial means has been enhanced. First, we advanced the adjudication-centered litigation system reform. We've been implementing the decisions of the fourth plenary session of the 18th Central Committee and introduced reform opinions on adjudication-centered litigation system. We've been fostering a criminal litigation paradigm with adjudication at the center of litigation, court judging as the center of adjudication, and evidence-centered court judging. We have been improving the work related to witnesses and appraisers and increased the rate of witnessing testifying at courts. We have fully leveraged the decisive role of the court in identifying the facts, designating evidence, protecting litigation rights, and fair adjudication. Second, effective prevention and redress of miscarriages of justice. We've been following a fact-based principle to address wrongly convicted cases whenever possible. We have been updating the judicial philosophy and followed a presumption of innocence approach to prevent the miscarriage of justice. In some cases, the defendants did confess crimes, but there are major problems or points of suspicion in the case, in the major evidence. In the second hearing and adjudication, more just handling or judging will be delivered. Third, improving the procedural protection mechanism. We have introduced the interpretation on the new criminal litigation law, and we have introduced open adjudication and defending to protect the various litigation rights of the defendants, the plaintiff, the victims, and to truly respect and protect human rights. We have also advanced the pilot work on full coverage of attorneys and improved mechanisms for attorneys to take part in litigation and protect the attorneys' rights and to leverage their role, so to let those who are guilty have their punishment, and those who are not guilty will be free from criminal consequences. Fourth, we have enhanced special protection for the rights and interests of minors. We've improved the judicial system and set up more than 2,000 junior courts or courts for minors across the nation. We've been following a education centered with punishment as the supplement approach and advanced the rehabilitation system for minors. The number of cases convicted by minors has been dropping for many years. So that's my answer to your question. With Red Star News. My question is, how will the People's Court contribute to the revitalization of the rural area, to improving governance at the grassroots level, and to preventing and resolving disputes? I'll take your question. The People's Court is at the front line of serving the people and helping to resolve disputes. It is at the forefront of improving social governance and promoting rural revitalization. Over the past decade, the People's Court has been valuing more the systemic approach and rule of law. We have taken effective and strong measures to advance our work. Last year, we have rolled out guiding opinions to establish the principles for People's Court in the new era and contribute to rural revitalization, the rejuvenation of our nation, and to promoting common prosperity. First, serving the comprehensive progress in rural revitalization. The countryside is the very basis for China's development. We have effectively handled agriculture or farmers-related disputes and effectively handled cases related to industrial development and equal protection. Nationwide, we have a special People's Court featuring the protection of the environment and also tourism-related courts, all in an effort to help to contribute to the development of the rural area. Second, serving social governance at the grass level. The grassroots level is critical to overall social stability. Between 2016 and 2021, a total of 25.37 million cases have been closed, accounting for 25% of the cases of primary level courts. We've been advancing governance with the People's Court heavily involved in rural governance in communities. And we have the special meditation organizations and meditators. The judicial system is contributing a big role to rural governance. We've been working to address the root cause of the disputes and aim to address the disputes before litigation. And when it comes to adjudication, there must be fairness and justice. Third, we've been serving the people's needs for a high-quality life. We handled a large number of livelihood-related cases, including marriage, labor disputes, property disputes, and neighbor relations. We also have different kinds of mobile courts to make sure that the justice is delivered on the ground. We have also one-stop and smart court service to deliver more efficient, more convenient, and more targeted services to really help people address their disputes and deliver fairness and justice.
China
National Radio. A lot of the times, the victims of criminal cases cannot have their rights protected or their livelihood insured because the perpetrators lack the ability to execute the court orders. My question is, over the past decade, what are some of the measures to help with the remedy?
谢谢您的这个问题，也特别感谢您对司法救助工作的关注。
Thank you for your question, and I thank you for your attention on judiciary relief. I am personally tasked with judiciary relief myself, so I will take your question. It can be said that judiciary relief has a special mission, that is, helping people in need. The third plenum of the 18th CPC Central Committee first put forth the requirement for judiciary relief system, and the fourth plenum further asked for improvement in the judiciary relief system. In 2014, the Supreme People's Court established a dedicated working group on that and took a series of measures to follow through on the reform instructions of the Party Central Committee. First, we need to clarify the scope of judiciary relief to identify people eligible for relief. Opinions on strengthening and standardizing the judicial relief of the people's courts was issued, clarifying that 3 types of people are eligible for judicial relief. First, victim, informant, witness, and appraiser in a criminal case. Second, the person seeking alimony. And third, someone who is responsible for physical injury due to traffic accidents or other civil torts. So if they are eligible, then they have the right to obtain judicial relief. Second, we established streamlined procedures, including judicial relief cases into the adjudication procedure. Such a streamlined procedure includes acceptance, eligibility, process, standards, funding, and reimbursement. They are now all standardized under the streamlined procedure. It brings an end to cumbersome and non-standardized procedures involving lots of departments and also different standards. Relief funds can now be distributed more accurately and efficiently to the people in need. Third, we worked to standardize procedures for handling of relief cases. Documents such as the People's Court's Judicial Relief Case Handling Procedures, an interim version, and the People's Court State Judicial Relief Paperwork format, interim version, and other judicial documents were issued. Regulations on the entire process from acceptance, handling, approval, application to reimbursement were all clarified. There are also time limits for each link to improve relevant work.
我们将坚持以人民为
Moving
中心
forward,
的发展思想，
The
进一步完
People's
善司法救
Courts
助制度，
would
来
adhere
提
to
高
the
救助
people-centered
案件的
development
办理质效，
philosophy, further
切实
improve
发
the
挥国
judicial
情
relief
两套的
system, and
司法
improve
救
handling
助
of cases,
无危即
so
归
that judicial
救急
relief
救
can
难
truly
保
help
证
those
公
in
正，
distress
来
and
彰
deliver
显司
care
法关
and
怀，
warmth
传递
of
司
the
法温
judiciary.
暖。谢谢。
Thank you.
下一个问题，
Next question,
前
please.
排这位女士。
谢主持人，人民网记者提问：我们注意到老百姓最关心的
Thank
民
you.
生领域的一些突出问题，例如
We
劳
have
动
noted
权益
some
保护、
outstanding
妇女
issues
儿童权益
in
保护等，
people's
被列入
well-being,
今
for
年人民法院
instance,
的
labor
重点工作
rights,
之一。那么请问
protection
下一
of
步将
women
有哪
and
些具体的
children.
司
They have
法
also
服
been
务和保
included
障
in the
细节？
priority areas of your work. So what are some specific measures moving forward?
这个问题呢，由我来回答。
I'll take this
民
question.
生啊，是最大的
The
政治，
livelihood is the biggest
也是
political
社会
matter.
各界
It's
和
also
人民群众最关心的问题。
high concern
党的18大以
for
来，
the general
人民
public.
法院始终坚持以
In the
人
past
民为中
decade,
心，
the People's Decade,
加强
the
民生
People's
司法保
Court
障，
has been
妥善审结
pursuing a
各类
people-centered
涉民事案
approach
件，
to enhance
发布了一
the
系
judicial
列司法
protection
解
of
释和司法政
livelihood.
策，
We
让
properly
人民群众
handled and closed
切实感受到
various livelihood
公平正义
cases and
就在身边。
introduced a
于
series
是
of
保障
judicial
人民安居
interpretation
乐
and
业。
policies to let the people truly
党的
feel
18大以来，依
fairness
法审
and
理了涉
justice.
及教
First,
育、
protecting people's
就业、医疗、
lives.
住房等各类涉民生案件
A total of
3600
36 million cases have been handled related to education, employment, medical services, housing, and other livelihood matters. We wrote out
等
the
民生领域司法
judicial
解释，
interpretation
引导
on
全社
food
会
and drugs, consumer
树立
rights,
程序
labor
意识、
rights, and
规则意识、
medical damage
契约意识、
liability.
责任意
We've
识。
been guiding the whole
下一步，
society
人民法院
to
将更加充分发挥
form
审判
awarenesses
职
of
能作用，
rules, procedures,
依法服务
contract,
经
and
济社会高质
responsibility.
量发展。
Going forward, we'll continue
保护消
to
费者权益，
leverage our
按
own
照
role
4个
and
最严的要
serve
求，
high-quality economic
保
and
障
social
群众
development.
舌
We will
尖上的安全，
set out to protect
推进制定
consumer rights
新就业形态的
and
司法政策，维护劳动者合法
roll
权益，
out more
促进
judicial
平台
policies
经济
for new
健
forms
康
of
有序
employment
发展。
to better protect the lawful rights and interests
二
of
是加强人格
workers
权益保护，
and promote the sound
发布
development
人脸
of
识别
platform
司法解
economy.
释，
Second, enhancing the
统一
protection
城
of
乡
personality.
人身损
We've
害赔偿标准，
introduced judicial interpretation of
新增
official
平等
recognition
就业
and
权、
unified the
性
compensation
骚扰损
standards
害责
for
任
rural
纠
and
纷的
urban
案件，
residents. We have
依法
also
审理了毕业生就业
enhanced
歧视
the protection
这里
for
边涉及到
equal
性别
employment
歧视
rights
地域
and
歧
damage
视等等，人格
compensation
权侵害
for
禁令等案件。
sexual
下一步要推进
harassment.
制定民法典侵权责任编司法解释，
Going forward,
加
we
强隐
will
私权和个人信息保护。
introduce the judicial interpretation on tort liability part of the civil code, better protect people's
三是保护
privacy
人
and
民
personal
财产权益，
information, and crack down on
发布物权编司
cyber-enabled
法解释，
infringement
审理
of rights.
老旧
Third,
小
we'll
区
better protect
加
people's
装电
property
梯案，
rights. We
强
handled
行啃
the
老、无居住
installment
案
of
等典型案
elevators
件
in old
保护群众合法权。
residential areas and
下一步
typical
要加强产权
cases
司法保
involving
护，
young people living
激
off
发
on
人
their
民群众
parents.
创
Going
新
forward,
创
we'll
业的
continue
活力，
to enhance
依法
the
审理
judicial
土地
protection
征
of
收
property
补偿
rights
等案
and
件，保护进城
unleash
落户
people's
农民的
ingenuity
合
for
法权，
innovation and
助力乡村振
entrepreneurship.
兴
We
和新型
have
城镇
handled
化建设。
cases of land requisition
促
in
进
accordance
家
with the
庭
law
文明
and
建设，
contribute to
制
the
定
lawful
婚姻
rights
家
and
庭继承编司法
interests
解
of
释，严惩拐卖
migrant
妇女儿童犯罪，
workers and
依法审
contribute
理
to rural
离婚、家
revitalization.
务补偿案
Fourth,
等案件，
family
坚决反对
matters.
家庭暴力，
We have
以发出人身
wrote
安
out
全保
judicial
护令，
interpretation
禁
on
1.1
the
万份。
parts of family
下一步
and inheritance
继
in the
续
civil
推进家
code.
事审判改革，制定人身安全保护令司法解释，
Abduction and
对人
trafficking
身安全
of
保护
women
令
and
案件
children
的证
have
明
been
标
cracked
准、
down hard.
违反禁令
We
的刑事惩
have
罚措施等问题作出回应，
responded
切实保护妇
to
女、
the
儿童和老年人的合
violations
法权益。
on this front to better
五是
protect
弘扬社会
women,
主义核
children,
心价
and
值观，
elderly.
依
Fifth,
法审理
promote
侵害
core
狼牙
socialist
山五壮
values.
士等
We
英烈
have
名誉案，
handled in accordance with the
侵
law
害
the
袁隆平院士
infringement
名
of the
誉案，
reputation
高
of
铁
the
霸铺案， 号贩子逃跑、摔
warriors
伤索
and
贿案等。
the infringement of reputation of famous academician Yuan
坚持
Longping
假恶
and
下一
all
步，
these
将进一
all
步
in
推
an
动社会主
effort
义核心价
to
值观，
promote
融入司
the
法政策，融入
high
司法
moral
裁判，
standards.
以裁判
Going
引领
forward,
规
we'll
则，
continue to better
以规则
integrate the socialist
引领
core
风尚。
values in the
好，谢谢。
judicial policies
最后
and
一个
to
问题，
guide the social
这位
morale. Thank you.
第二排这位。
谢谢主持人。法制日报记者提问：我们看到
With
这一年
Legal
来
Daily,
诉讼模式的不断变革，
recent years have seen the changes in the litigation mode, and people have been enjoying a digital dividend in terms of the smart court. Now, can you give us more information on what the People's Court have been done in integrating the judicial work with the digital
提问的
technologies?
这个问题啊，实质是关
I will
涉
take your
科
question.
技与法治深度融
I think
合
the essence
服
of
务
your
人民
question
的一个大问题。
is about how the integration of
没
the
有
judiciary
信息
and
化，就没有
digital
现代化。
technologies serve the
党的
people.
18大以来，
In the
人民
digital
法院
era,
深入
without
贯彻习近平总书记
digitalization, there is no
关于网络
modernization.
强国
Since the
的重要
18th Party
思想
Congress,
抢抓
the
数
People's
字中国
Courts
建设
have
重
followed
大
through
机遇。
on the important thinking of
紧紧围绕
General
努
Secretary
力
Xi
让人民
Jinping
群
on
众在
building
每一个
a
司法
strong
案件中感
IT
受到公
country.
平正义
We
这
have
一目
taken
标，
this important
把司法
opportunity
体制改
to
革
help
和智慧法院
every
建设
person
作为
feel a sense
人
of
民司
fairness
法
and
事业
justice
发
in
展
every
的车
case.
之两轮，鸟之两翼，建成了全业
Reform in
务网上
the
办理
judicial system
全流
and
程
development
依法
of
公
smart
开
courts
全
have
方
become
位
two
智
wings
能
and
服务的
wheels
智
of
慧
the
法院，
judiciary. And we
构
have
建
built smart
中国
courts
特色的
that
互联网司
features
法模
all
式，
online services
全面
and
重
the
塑
running
了
of the entire
审判执
process
行
in
模式，
transparency.
有力促进社
We
会公
have
平正义，
built
为
a
人民群众
online
提供
judicial
了极大的便利。
model
最
with
主
Chinese
要的体现
characteristics
在
and
3个方
reshaped
面：
the verdict
一
enforcement
是
model to
在线
facilitate
服务有效
social
提升
justice
群众
and
的
bring the people
司法
convenience.
获得感。
And this
人
can
民
be
法
seen
院
in
切
three
实践
perspectives.
行以人
First,
民为中
it
心
has
发展思
helped
想，
to improve
建
people's
成了
sense of
覆盖4级
fulfillment,
法院的人民法
fully
院在
following
线服务平
a
台，
people-centered approach.
提供
We have
在
built
线调
a
解、
four-tiered
电子送达、
online service
委托
platform of
鉴定
people's courts
等一站式
to
诉讼
deliver
服务。
one-stop
老
litigation
百姓
services, including
办理
online
诉讼
mediation,
事务
e-delivery,
可以全流程
commissioning,
掌
and
上办。
and appraisal.
以
The
往
people can
参加
now
诉讼
run
平均
all
往返法院
litigation
近6
errands
次，
with
现在只需
their
要
phones.
1至2次，
In the
甚
past,
至
every
1次都不
litigation
友
would
好。
take about 6 trips to the
人
courts.
民法院
Now it will only
调解
take
平
1
台
to 2 trips
有
or even
7.8
none
万个
at
调
all.
解组织和32
There
万
are
名调解员竞争，
78,000 mediation groups and 320,000 mediators in
在
people's
网
courts.
上
Every
成
minute,
功地化解，
51 disputes
依法
are
高效
resolved
便民
online.
保护诉讼权利，减轻
We
群
have
众的
worked
诉讼。
to lawfully,
大数据
effectively,
平台
and
动态汇聚案件的信息，
to protect people's
针对
litigation rights and
高空
interests
抛物
in a way
坠
that
物
facilitates
电信
their
网络诈
rights
骗、网上
and
购物纠
reduces
纷
their
等社会热点
exhaustion
问题，
from
发布司
litigation.
法大数据报告，回应民生
Our
的
online
关切，
platform
促进
collects
社会公
information on cases
建成了审判流程
and、have
听审活动、裁判文
issued
书、
reports
执
regarding
行信息
cases
四大
like
公开平
high-rise
台
littering and telecom
开
fraud.
放动态
We have
透
worked to
明
respond
便
to
民的
people's
阳光
concerns
司法机
and
制，
facilitate social
方便群
stability.
众以看得见的方
We
式
have
感受到
set
公
4
平正义。
platforms on
二是
court
网上
on
办案
verdict procedure,
显著
court
增
activity,
强
verdict,
实
and
现公正
enforcement
的
so
效
that
果。
people can truly see and
在
feel
审判中，
justice.
互联网、人
Second,
工智能、
online
区块链等技术
processing
深度
can
应用，
improve
听审
efficiency
语
of
音识别
justice.
类
In
案
our
智能推
trials,
送
the
等司
internet,
法辅助
AI,
系统，
and blockchain
推动
technologies are
听审
applied.
效率提高
Court
达
voice
20%以
recognition
上，
and
让老百
similar
姓
cases
解决
recommendation
矛盾纠
systems are
纷，
all
实
in
现
use
公
to
平正
promote
义
our
更加
efficiency,
高
in
效
fact,
便捷。
as high as 20%.
在执行中，
so that people can solve their cases and realize fairness and justice in a more efficient way. In enforcement, smart courts have also played a key role in solving difficult problems, in tracking persons and things, shutdown of companies and asset freeze, and also punishment of people, and also online auctioning. These have also played an important role, and the people have felt tangibly the benefits from these technologies. For instance, online judicial auctioning alone has saved the people as much as 61.9 billion yuan in commission fees. While responding to COVID-19, smart courts have also shown their edges to make sure that trials won't stop and justice will always prevail. COVID-19 might have slowed some people's footsteps, but they have not forestalled the arrival of justice. Third, Internet judicial model of China has become a pacesetter in the world. Beijing, Hangzhou, Guangzhou as pacesetters of Internet judicial services have tried a series of rulemaking cases involving online matters and have set an example for people to solve disputes in the digital era. People's courts rolled out rules on online litigation, mediation, and operation, and issued the first set of guidelines in the world on the application of blockchain technologies. This shows that we have become a country that is a pioneer in judicial application of technologies that can effectively protect people's property and life and ensure democracy, rule of law, justice, and fairness. Smart courts and Internet judicial models are an important practice of the People's Court in a digital era. It could greatly empower our judiciary and bring people benefits. I would like to thank all speakers and all friends from the media. Thank you. That is the end of today's press conference.